Hello, welcome back to Emily A to Z. My name is Emily, and today I have an experimental video. Now, if you've been around for just a little bit, or if you've watched a number of my videos, you'll know I'm a horror girly through and through. I love my horror books. That's primarily what I read. I read a lot of horror, and I love that. One of my least read, some of my most least read genre though is romance. That's near the bottom. I don't read a lot of romance, and I think part of that is because I don't know what I'm looking for in a romance novel. And if I'm being honest, there was a lot of stigma attached to romance for a really long time. It was always kind of perceived as, like the bodice rippers, right? Those mass market paperbacks, the Scottish Highlander whatever, or the Regency era kind of novels where there's always a beautiful woman with it's falling off of her shoulder, or a shirtless guy on the cover, and it was always perceived as like naughty, or as like titillating, stimulating, right? Like, oh, we don't read, and I don't know where that came from for me, like why I have that perception of that romance is nothing but like smut or erotica, and that's not the case. I know that now as a cultured adult, but I definitely recall thinking when I was younger and when I was in like my teenage years and even into early college that romance was for like stuffy old ladies who weren't in love. Like I'm saying, well, why did I think that? I don't know. I also know, like, I have in my head that like Danielle Steele is a romance author. I don't know if that's true or not. But like there are names, right, that growing up I associated with romance. And that was like Danielle Steele, or what's Debbie Maycomer, all right, like names like that where I'm like, oh yes, that's a romance author kind of thing. And I did see my mom reading romance novels. Maybe I didn't though. I saw my mom reading a lot of Danielle Steele when I was younger. And maybe that's where I got that idea from, that it was just like middle-aged women read these books. And I was just like, I want no part of that. So I always wanted action and adventure. And then as I got older, I wanted darker, grittier stuff. I wanted horror. I like the mystery novels or thriller novels. And I'm wondering, I've wondered for quite a while now if my resistance to romance is because I actually don't know anything about it. And I think it's time to change that. I've been trying to read a little bit more romance on my own, but then I kind of feel like I was floundering, like I didn't know what I was looking for. I wasn't sure what I was gravitating towards. I've heard the tropes, right? Like I've heard fake dating, I've heard marriage of convenience. Bridgerton popped off, and I'm like, okay, I understand like Regency historical romance. And then like I've heard Emily Henry and Abby Jimenez, and like I heard these names, but I'm still just like, I don't know. So I went to my lovely sister-in-law because she is my romance girly. If I am the horror girly, she is the romance girly in my life. She reads a lot of romance, and she gave me 4. I'm going to try to read 3. One of them, when I looked into it, I realized was technically a sequel, and whilst it said you could read it on its own as like a standalone, it would be beneficial if you read the first one, if you read what was considered the first book before reading this one. So I'm kind of holding off on that. I have these 3 books. What are they? So first off, I've got here is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. This is a duology. This is book 1 in the Shepherd King duology, and I'm going into these as blind. I'm going off of what my sister-in-law has pitched me. And she says, for this one, that it is a gothic fantasy with a side plot of romance. I think you might enjoy this one a lot. It's a very unique book. And I was like, okay, cool. So fantasy, gothic is darker. This seems like a nice little entryway point for me, where like I may not read a lot of fantasy either, but I do like those gothic elements. I like magic in my novels. She also gave me the recommendation of Book Lovers by Emily Henry, which she actually gave to me for Christmas this year, and was like, it's what the cover says. You've got these 2 people, opposites attract, rivals, enemies to lovers. She's like slow burn tension. And I was like, okay, I'm in. And then the last one she gave me as well is The Spellshop by Sarah Beth Durst. I think this is also the first book in a fantasy series. I don't know how many there are in this because I think this one is fairly new. Super cute, cozy fantasy romance. There's a little plant friend in it that's the best. And I'm like, sold. I love an animal companion as well. At least like little friendly things. I'm excited. I can't wait. I basically just told her, I know I like enemies to lovers. I know that I hate miscommunication trope where it could have just been solved if you actually talked. I hate that nonsense. I don't hate it just in like, because I don't read a lot of romance, but like whatever. I have no perception of spice or like what level of spice I'm looking for. That's not a factor for me. I will read open door, I will read closed door, because I don't know necessarily what I'm yearning for. But we are on an adventure together to find out what I like. So with that, I think I'm gonna start with One Dark Window. I'm gonna ease my way into this with something that feels the most similar to what I read, which is this gothic fantasy. So I'll see you in a bit. Let's talk One Dark Window. I'm giving it a 3. I liked it, but there are definitely some problems with this book that I just like can't ignore or that I can't move past. And a lot of that has to do with the tropes found in this book. This is marked as a gothic fantasy. We're following Elsbeth, who there's a sickness that has ravaged her village, and it's steeped in lore. Right, there's magic, but the magic is forbidden, and you can only safely use magic if you use like these cards. But there's a sickness, and if you get infected with the sickness, you could either die or be granted like a magical power. And it's definitely assumed that if you get the sickness and you survive, you have magic. That's kind of heavily implied. Then of course, Elsbeth is one of those people. Elsbeth is essentially able to like absorb the cards if she comes in physical contact with them. And that's what happened to her when she was young. She touched one card in particular, absorbed its magic, and of course now a like beast lives in her head. And that is a core part of this, is like this dueling literal internal monologue is like fighting her every turn. She can call on it for help, and then she kind of gets like enhanced physical abilities. And I sound kind of meh about it because, as I explained to my husband, I feel like you could put this book in any like modern fantasy movie and you would go, I know exactly how this is going to end. Because that's what I did personally. As I was reading it, by like chapter 4, like 4 to 6 in there, I knew what was happening. Like I knew what the twist was going to be, what was going to happen. I could tell, because I do think that in this world, the tropes work against it. Young girl, heavy magic, this is going to happen. It was like Robin Hood meets Zorro with a dash of Lord of the Rings. And I also can't get over the fact that the love interest is described as like tall, dark, and handsome, like dark black hair that he sweeps out of his face, and he's got a hooked nose, and his name is Raven. Like, really? Really? And we are constantly referring back to his black hair and his hooked nose. I get it. He's a bird. Okay. Like, I was not impressed with, in my opinion, the over-reliance on, like, atmosphere of this being, like, a gothic, magic-heavy atmosphere. I don't know what I wanted, but it just it started to get really annoying because it just felt predictable. It really just felt like I knew exactly what was going to happen. And that's incredibly annoying. However, because of how the book ended, which I did actually really, really like how the book ended, I will continue the series. I am going to finish. It's only a duology, so I am going to read the second book because I want to know how it ends. So I guess it was kind of a win, even though I wasn't. We'll see how the second one is. I think some people have found the second one less than the first. Like, they enjoyed the second one. I don't know. But one book down that matches my outfit. Look at that. And I guess what's next is book lovers. I'm so excited. Based off my shirt, do you know what book I'm talking about? You probably do. That's right. We're talking about Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I want to start right off the bat. 5 stars. This is a 5-star read for me. Am I shocked? Yes. Am I awed? Yes. Am I gobsmacked? I'm shooketh. I'm screaming, I'm crying, I'm throwing up because I gave a romance book 5 stars. Like a contemporary romance novel, 5 stars, because I didn't know that that was something that I would love. I'm only shocked because, again, I've always assumed romance is just like bodice rippers and for stuffy old ladies, and that makes no sense. And so here I am reading a contemporary romance novel that I ate up, and I loved it. I am so happy that I read this. I am so happy that my sister-in-law gifted this to me for Christmas. I have nothing but positive things to say. So really quick, rapid fire, because it's amazing. Nora and Charlie are our main protagonists in this novel. They are both in the book industry. Nora is a literary agent. Charlie is an editor. They met once briefly, like a couple years ago, and had a disastrous first meeting. It did not go well. They both left thinking that like the other one hated each other, basically. Or at least Nora left thinking that Charlie could not stand her, didn't like her at all. And so ever since then, she and him have had this very cold, a little harsh, a little mean professional rivalry with each other. They bicker, they don't get along. Like, that's what's understood, is that they just don't get along. They don't work well on projects. Libby is Nora's sister. Libby is pregnant with her 3rd child, and she begs Nora to take a like sisterly vacation with her. Let's go spend a whole month with each other, no boys, you and me, in this little North Carolina town called Sunshine Falls, because that is the town that a famous book takes place in. One of Nora's clients, her name is Dusty. Dusty is an author, wrote a book that was set in Sunshine Falls, North Carolina. Libby's obsessed with it and is like, I got us tickets to go spend a month in this little town. Please come with me. And Nora can't say no to Libby at all. There's a lot going on there. And so she's like, fine. As they're there, Libby is like, I made a to-do list, a checklist of like the epitome of small town romance things that we should do together, and like date locals, wear flannels, ride a horse, like very tropey things. And so Libby and Nora start on this like to-do list of things. But guess what? Guess who's also weirdly in this little small town? None other than Charlie. So then Nora's like, what are you doing here? They keep running into each other because it's such a small town, right? They can't really get away from each other. And as they keep ending up in close quarters, the tension starts rising, but it's a different kind of tension. Yes, that's right. The sexual tension starts to rise. There's so much banter in this. They are not bickering, but they pick at each other, and it's can I get under your skin? Can I kind of make you uncomfortable? And then it slowly morphs into like, can I make you laugh? Can I get you to smirk? Can I get you to engage with me on this conversation? And we start to learn what's going on in both of their lives, and why Nora is willing to do whatever Libby wants her to do, and why Charlie is in this little town. And as things heat up, Dusty, Nora's client, is working on another novel that Nora now has to like get to a publisher, get to like an editor. Charlie's like, hey, I want that. I want to be the editor on Dusty's new book. And now they have to work together. So now they're trying to work together, and things are heating up. And I think part of why I loved this so much was the slow burn. This did feel like rivals, and I know I like that, rivals to lovers. I like enemies to lovers. They don't immediately just stop like hating each other or messing with each other. It takes time. They slowly build up this trust with one another, and yes, there's interest, and yes, there's desire involved, but they don't just jump into bed with each other, and I really, really liked that. We have a few like spicy scenes that are spicy without sex. They get close, they go like skinny dipping, and so we get to see that interaction where, oh, it's their skin and it's tense, and like, I am obviously feeling desire towards you, but we can't do this. And so there is also that little bit of that will they, won't they. And I really liked the slow building, the tension. I did really like the tension. So then when we finally do end up with an open door sex scene, which there's only like 1 or 2 in the book, and I'm also okay with that as well. I don't need a flurry of sex scenes. When we finally get to that point, the payoff felt worth it. It was like, yes, we have actually earned this. It didn't feel cheap. It didn't feel rushed because we had so much of that buildup. So when it finally happened, I'm like, yeah, that's right. And I loved it. I loved the character dynamics. I realized that sounded like I meant I loved the sex scenes, and that's not what I meant. I loved their dynamic. I love the buildup. I love the personalities that were in this book, the way they complement each other. I love Nora and Libby together. It reminded me a lot of like my sister and I in certain degrees, in certain ways, like my sister and I being Nora and Libby. I love the sisterly bond and the connection. I do like Charlie as a person and like his dedication to his career and to his family. I liked the way these characters were written. They felt fleshed out, they felt real, and I appreciated that. They didn't feel like caricatures. This helped me learn more about what I'm intrigued in. I still like that enemies to lovers or rivals to lovers. I like the slow burn. I do like the building of tension. I almost say I enjoyed the non-sex spicy scenes more than I even like enjoyed the actual bedroom scene, if you will. Those felt more real. Yeah, I think it just felt better than that. So I'm like, okay, so I don't necessarily want or am interested in the bedroom scenes in a romance, but I like the burning tension. I like the yearning, the like, ooh, we obviously very much like each other and want this, but we shouldn't. I liked the pull, the back and forth. So I'm like, okay, I'm learning what I do and don't like. I also really liked that there was no miscommunication in this. They were clear with each other. It was like, we understand where we're at with this. We understand what this can be, what this can't be. Ultimately, the conflict was not because of a miscommunication. So I'm glad they never once like turned against each other, which I don't like. I don't like a breakup or a betrayal or whatever. Like that always feels cheap to me and like shitty to me kind of thing. I liked that they both had each other's best interests at the forefront of their mind. So 5 stars, I'm very happy. And I guess all that's left now is the Spellshop. It is time for the Spellshop by Sarah Beth Durst. It is time to talk about the Spellshop by Sarah Beth Durst. And yes, did I intentionally plan my outfit to kind of go with the vibes of this? 100%. We've got the purple, like sprayed edges. I've got one of my favorite overalls. This is the only pair of overalls I own, but I love them. This cute purpley periwinkle color with the like flowers. I don't know. It just the vibe. Immaculate, right? It fits. So let's talk about the Spellshop. This, I found out, is the first book in a series. It's the first in the Spellshop series. I think I will continue on in this series, so that is a good thing. I will tell you, I am giving this a 3.5. That being said, it's a perfectly good book. There's nothing inherently wrong with this book, in my opinion. I just couldn't figure out how I was feeling about it. But what is this about? So I went into this blind, and we are following Kiela, who is a librarian in like the capital city, but the capital city is coming under siege. There is a revolution happening based off of this idea that magic, which at the start of the story is heavily controlled. Magic is supposed to only be performed by sorcerers under the emperor's discretion. The sorcerers go about performing like magical-esque miracles, not magical-esque, magical miracle-esque, these things that are supposed to help the whole like country, this whole like area of islands. The sorcerers are supposed to travel around to the outer islands, to the inner islands, through the capital, perform these great feats of magic that are supposed to help the lives of the citizens and make their lives better. But it's heavily, heavily, heavily controlled. Like the emperor decides who gets to use magic, when, for what, and If you use magic without permission or without proper training, you are severely punished. So when the book opens, a revolution is happening. That's how this story opens, like part 1, day 1, chapter 1. A revolution is happening where they are like, the other people have said, hey, no, this isn't right. Magic should be available to everyone. You should, yes, study and like learn how to use it, but it should not be so tightly controlled and doled out by like one person in power. Everyone should have access to this knowledge and this information to do good, to help better themselves. Why are we suffering? Because one person has said, I'm going to control all the power. So that's what's going on. As a librarian, she works specifically with like spell books and is like helping people get that information. When the sorcerers come to the library, they tell her what they're trying to research. She gives them the books and they learn how to cast the spells and stuff. Because the library gets like ransacked, things start getting set on fire, she grabs a bunch of books, runs to a boat with her little plant companion, Kaz, and they take off. And the only place she can think to take them that might be safe is her old home, her hometown, which is this island far out. And she goes back to her hometown and originally intends to just kind of lay low, hide out. She knows that her parents' cottage is still there. She's like, we'll just kind of like sneak in, we'll lay low, and we'll hide all the books, we'll hide the magic, and we'll just survive. We're just trying to survive, because she thinks, oh crap, I'm gonna get in trouble because I have essentially stolen property from the capital. I've stolen magical resources, and if they know that I've done that, they're going to persecute us. And so she's afraid and she's frightened, so that's why she wants to hide. But kind of that hometown vibe, you come back to your hometown, small hometown, everybody knows everybody. They immediately are like, who are you? You aren't from around here. And then they're like, oh wait, we do know you. And she's like, yeah, I was born here. My parents, we left when I was a kid to go to the capital to get like a better life. And so there is that aspect of she's coming home, comes back to her hometown. She's scared and she's withdrawn and she's very, very private. And as the story progresses, she realizes that she doesn't have to do everything alone. She can ask for help from the people of the town and from her neighbors, the people that make this town what it is. And she also can and does decide to use magic, even though she's not a sorcerer, even though she's not properly trained. And it starts off with just, she's like, I need to use magic to survive. She, does some plant magic to help herself grow some berries so she can make jam and then sell that to the local bakery. And so it starts off as just, I'm using this magic to help me literally survive. And she learns that because of the revolution and stuff like that, sorcerers haven't been coming to her hometown in a long time. They haven't been coming and helping the people. So the water is drying up. They're losing their magic. The mer people and like the mer horses, because that's a whole thing, like they aren't able to get pregnant and have babies and like grow the herd and like all of this stuff. So it's like the island is like slowly losing its magic. That doesn't mean they're dying, but they are losing their magic. And if it continues, it could devastate this island. And so she starts going, what if I use a little bit of magic to like help? I can do that. And so she starts trying to like find things, but she can't say she's using magic. She calls them like natural remedies. And so then she's trying to like sell these little remedies to the population to help the island like flourish again, to come back. And she meets all the cast of characters, and she of course becomes part of this community. This is a cozy fantasy, so it is rather low stakes, even when there is, an issue or the conflict that arises in here. It is still very low stakes. I never actually felt that our main character, Kiela, was ever in danger or was at risk of being imprisoned or harmed in any way. It's not that it's convenient, but it's easy. And that's intentional. This is a cozy novel. This is not meant to have you on the edge of your seat, gripping the sides of your chair, nervous as all get out for our main character. It's meant to give you those warm, fuzzy feelings inside as she starts to navigate life in her hometown, in a small town, and rediscover herself and her purpose. And of course, find love. In terms of this experiment for romance, the romance is on the lighter side in this book. There are some really cute instances of like them both being completely oblivious. The guy, Loran, he is obviously obsessed with her from the beginning. Like he is interested in her. She is oblivious to the fact that he is interested in her. Our little plant friend, which my sister-in-law's right, is the best. Kaz is my favorite. He is a spider plant. He is a sentient spider plant. Kaz straight up several times is like, you both are idiots. You're hopeless. And just will like walk out, is like, I can't with you people. And thing like of that nature, which I did find that amusing. That is fun. There is that obliviousness, right? And then as like signs and signals, I didn't like though, as it progresses, it is glaringly obvious that this man is interested in her. It takes like literally half the village going, hey, he likes you. And she's like, no. And they're like, no, he likes you. I also didn't like that part of the conflict. It's kind of spoilery, but not. But like there's a conflict where, of course, she's like, she thinks she has to run. She thinks she has to escape because she thinks she's going to get caught. That like the Emperor, people that want to control the magic are coming after her. And so she's like, the only thing I can do is run away. I have to leave the island. And I don't like that the townspeople's argument to keep her, besides them going, hey, we'll protect you, was them going, yeah, but you shouldn't leave because he has the hots for you and he's in love with you. So that's why you should stay. I wasn't a fan of that. To me, that feels like that takes away her agency and puts it on a man. It's don't leave because that dude is in love with you and you'll make him sad if you leave. And he already has a sad, tragic backstory. So don't make him sad again. Maybe it's the feminist in me, but I'm sorry. I don't want to do anything just because it'll make a man sad. If anything, I'm going to do the thing that'll make that man sad. Sorry about you. So that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I liked it. I enjoyed my time with it. I definitely will continue in the series. I think if I obviously hate a book or I don't enjoy a book, I'm not going to continue on in the series. But like a 3.5 is not a bad rating. I liked the book. I had a good time. It was nice and light and cozy. There's enough to keep me intrigued. No spice. There were no sex scenes. It was nothing even like closed door or fade to black. They shared a few kisses. They tell each other that they love each other. But it wasn't anything over the top, and I did like that as well. I don't think there always needs to be a spice or scenes or whatever to make it a romance novel. I don't mind that the romance was kind of secondhand, like secondary to the plot. I will be interested to see what happens in the next book, because this seemed to like end fairly well. Like it to me, this wraps up. This could be a standalone. So I am intrigued to see what happens in the series, because I know there's a book 2, and I did see that like there's supposed to be a 3rd book that comes out this year in 2026, which is interesting to me. But that wraps up this video idea, this concept. How do I think I did? Am I a romance girly? I don't know. Am I likely to pick up a romance? Yeah, I think so. If anything, what I learned was that the books that had a romance as like a secondary plot line, to me, I rated lower than the like traditional romance novel that I absolutely adored. I loved that. I loved the character dynamics there. So moving forward, I do think I am much more likely to pick up a romance moving forward. I am. And that's fun. This was fun. I would love to do something experimental again in the future. And if you also would like to see that, let me know. I don't know, give me your thoughts about romance. If you have any suggestions for what I should read, drop that as well. Like I'm fascinated. I'm open to suggestions at this point. But thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you all. I'll see you all very, very soon. But in the meantime, be easy with your hearts.